Well, I thought the next project I'd be doing would be the solar on top of the Kandi Ranch cart, but I have two others I want to do first. First is covers for the glove box areas. Those are just empty cavities and there's no lip on them, so anything that goes in there is very likely to bounce out. So I've got some doors on order from Kandi. I'll get them put in when they get here. But the most pressing thing, and I haven't checked it yet, but visually it sure looks like it, is the front end alignment. That tire, the front tire right there, looks like he's pretty close to straight, maybe towed out a little. This one looks like he's towed out a bunch. So I will check that and adjust them, and then do the glove box covers, and then I'll start messing with the solar. This here turned out to be pretty handy. It's just a plastic basket from Walmart, velcroed in place there, because there was no good storage, especially with those cubby holes just being open like they are. You can't really trust them on these dirt roads and grass and woods and stuff, so that's pretty handy. $3 or $4 at Walmart. But let's get started on the front tire toe-in alignment. And of course, it can't be simple. The easiest way to do a quick and dirty hillbilly level alignment is with the string. Wrap a string around all 4 tires and measure against the rim. But the rear tires on this are wider spaced than the front tires. They're definitely wider spaced because of the 4-inch spacers I put on the back and the 3-inch spacers on the front, but they're actually even a little wider spaced than that, I believe. So that throws things off. So to avoid all the ciphering that would involve doing it that way, I'm gonna chuck the string, make sure the wheel is centered, and I'm just using 5-foot sticks of 1/2-inch conduit bungeed in place to hold it parallel to the ground, even with the hubs. And we'll measure it that way. It'd be nice if you could do it the easy way, huh? Well, I was wrong. That thing is darn near perfectly aligned. It's hard to get the actual measurements on video without using a tripod. But basically, with the conduits giving a straight edge, I measured just in front of the tire and just in back of the tire underneath, same thing. And I'll pop up pictures. They are identical. I would prefer if they were towed in a hair. Say if the front was, you know, 1/8 of an inch less than the rear, but they're exactly the same, within probably a 32nd of an inch. So I am not going to worry about it. We're not running this at high speed, and we're not running it on pavement. So it is darn near perfect. So I got to apologize to the factory. They got it right. Well, the glove box covers came in. They're just a plastic push button cover that fits on the front of it like so. Got a push button release there. And it just mounts with 4 screw holes on the outer edges. It's bouncy as the conditions are that this poor thing travels on. I'm not sure if that'll hold long term. If they loosen up, I will put some Lexel or something on it, but I'm going to try it with just the provided screws at this point. And we'll get them on and see how they work. Okay, well, those went on without too much trouble. Pretty straightforward. Just screws in the 4 corners there. It'd be nice if they opened a little wider, but that's still leaps and bounds better than it was. That's just a USB cable with multiple ends, so you can plug into something with a C or a Lightning or a micro USB, but I think that'll do it. There's your USB connections right there. So that's it for the glove box covers. I have found the source of the noise of the dump bed, and that's going to be pretty simple to fix, so I'll go ahead and do that now, and I think that'll be the end of it until we get to the solar. One thing I'm doing in preparation for doing the solar on top is adding some additional bracing to these upright framing members where they meet the cross pieces. I'll insert a little video clip. As you're driving, these things wobble some, and I'm concerned that with the added weight of the solar panels versus this little plastic top, that'll just magnify it. So I'm going to add some short pieces of bracing down here between these guys, similarly here and here, just to give it some extra lateral strength, because those solar panels will be quite a bit heavier than this guy here is. So we'll get that done. We'll just use some 1/2-inch EMT conduit, cut to length and shaped, and I'll show you how those go. These are the diagonal bracings I'm doing for the roof structure. 2 for the very back, 2 for the front running front to back, and 2 in the front running side to side alongside the windshield. And that should give it quite a bit more structural strength. Just bent pieces of 1/2-inch EMT conduit with flattened ends, bent to fit, and holes drilled in for self-tapping screws or bolts, whichever seems like they'll work. Let's start with self-tappers, but if they don't work, I'll go with through bolts. And that's them. Well, there's the additional bracing I was talking about. Got 2 in the back here to help with front to back motion, 2 at the front to do the same, and then 2 more in the front going laterally across the windshield area, and that should add quite a bit of rigidity. I may, depending on how it behaves, I may do some big cross brace there. We'll see, because the only side-to-side bracing I have are these guys right here, these guys right here. Everything else is just for front to back, so we'll see how it goes and play it from there. Well, it turns out all of that horrific noise from the dump bed was coming from one place. I looked up underneath the latching mechanism, seeing if there was any issue there, but all of that noise comes from that little hinge connection there and on the other side there. It's just this round rod squeaking as he's going through that little sleeve there. That's the whole problem. So, using some door shims, there and there, just to create a little tension, gets rid of that squeak entirely. So that's pretty cool. So I will rig up a little keeper system on those, probably a little self-tapping screw and some paracord or something, and then trim them to fit so they're not sticking way down underneath there. But that should be the end of that, and it is much quieter on the road with those in place. So we'll get that knocked out here. Okay, got the shims all figured out. It's got a zip tie through the shim to serve as a little bit of a handle for pulling it out, with some cord attached to another zip tie with a screw into the metal. And the way he works is close the gate, stick him down in there, and that tightens things up quite a bit and makes them a lot quieter. So that's that for that. So I guess that's the end of it until the solar. We got the bed noise figured out and fixed. Got the extra cross bracing in all around. Got the glove box covers in place and got the front end alignments. squared away. So probably next week I'll start with the solar stuff, and we'll see how that goes. You know, hillbillies just got to be messing with stuff. So appreciate it.